Hey, welcome in to the latest edition of the True Tiger Insider, PowerMizzou.com's podcast in partnership with the Every True Tiger Foundation. That is Mizzou's preferred NIL collective, where Mizzou athletes can make a little bit of money off of their name, image, and likeness. Every True Tiger Foundation has a partnership with PowerMizzou.com. If you want to find out more about ETTF, just go to everytruetiger.org, or you can go to our message board to find out more about our specific collective. Power Mizzou members have raised already almost $100,000. That's the first goal we set. And some of our members are going to get a special opportunity in the fall when we hit that mark to get a little bit of special access to Mizzou players, coaches, things like that. So we encourage you to go to everytruetiger.org to find that out. Every week we have a different Mizzou athlete on this podcast. We've talked to Jocelyn Moore, talked to Keegan O'Toole last week. And this week, happy to bring in Mizzou, soon-to-be sophomore wide receiver, Luther Burden III. Luther, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Appreciate you taking a little bit of time here, fresh off of spring break. And first thing I got to ask you, man, you guys had, they called it spring football, but it ended and there was snow on the ground. I know Coach Drink likes to have it done earlier. Are you a fan of that, like getting it done early and having a little time to kind of relax and chill in the spring?
Yeah, I definitely, would like to get it done early just because, people have, injuries. So I feel like that's a real smart idea to, get spring ball over with early. So, yeah.
Yeah. So what are you doing now, kind of now until you guys come back for summer stuff? Are you still have like regular meetings and conditioning and stuff like that? Or did they kind of, do you get a little bit more time off day to day?
You definitely give them a lot more time off. Now we just, lifting and we got meetings later on. So we just, get everybody getting the playbook down and just getting bigger, faster, stronger.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people are real familiar with your story, and we did a series of shows last spring where people got to know you. So I want to kind of focus more on your time at Missouri here, and just we haven't talked to you at least much since the end of the season. So just curious, kind of what was, in looking back, what was your opinion on your freshman season and how everything went?
I felt like I left a lot on the table. And not just me, and I felt like the whole organization, we left too many games on the table that should have been under our belt. So we, still got a lot of work to do. And overall though, it was fun though. I enjoyed, everything that came with it.
What was kind of the one? I'm assuming maybe it's either your first game or that first punt return touchdown. But what kind of was your favorite memory from last year?
Well, my favorite memory, I don't even know.
Yeah.
I know I like, well, my favorite memory probably my first touchdown.
Yeah. What did you kind of learn about college football last year? Because obviously you come in number one receiver in the country and all that, and look, I know you try to block it out, but there's a lot of outside noise and hey, this is what we expect. Was there anything that was different or harder than you thought it was going to be your first year in college ball coming up from high school?
Yeah, definitely. The competition, coming from high school, everybody good on this level. Everybody can play, everybody can run, everybody can do everything. So, it was definitely a huge step, towards where I'm trying to go, and
yeah,
it was fun.
Is just playing receiver? What's the biggest difference? I've got to imagine it's kind of getting off the line against some of these DBs that you see in the SEC.
Yeah, I definitely say that too. Getting off the line and just probably finishing more like it's more contested catches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You played outside last year. Everybody knows that Dom chose to move on and go somewhere else, and now you're moving inside to the slot. Is that Is there a big difference there in playing those positions, going through spring ball and kind of what you have to know? Do you see a big difference?
Yeah, I see a huge big difference.
How so?
I feel like it's easier for the quarterback, to see me, and like it's more easier throws because like when you're on the outside, you gotta throw. Like if you're trying to throw a fade ball, you gotta throw it all the way. It gotta be the ball basically almost gotta be perfect. But if it's in the slide, it's like I'm closer to the quarterback. I'm a big slide. I ain't no little slide, so I'm you're gonna see me, come across the middle and all that. So it's gonna be, fun.
It seems like to me, and you tell me if this is right, that when you're playing the slot, the whole goal is, hey, just get the ball to this guy quick, and then let him just get it in his hands and let him go to work. It's a lot less like downfield waiting for stuff to develop.
Yeah, that's definitely another reason why I moved in the slide. I felt like it would be easier to give me more touches, you know, so I can get north and south, right away.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about that wide receiver room. I mean, obviously, I know you and Dom were close, and he's gone, but you got Theo, who I know you got to know, Theo Weiss, you got to know a little bit probably in the recruiting process, and a whole bunch of new guys. So what was that like this spring?
Um, I mean, it was really everybody, just came to work. Everybody, still competing. So, I mean, it was fun, come around with some new guys, and I'm just looking forward to having a good journey with them.
Yeah. Also gone is Barrett Bannister finished his 19th year of eligibility, and he was like the dad and the leader in that room, right? So who takes that over now? Do you find yourself having to be kind of more of a guy that's kind of setting examples and talking to other guys than you did last year?
I definitely do. I feel like everybody just has to step up, because losing Barrett was a big loss for us. Because he was the leader around the room. So I feel like everybody, just got to step their game up even more. We all coachable. We're a very coachable group. So I feel like it won't be, too hard to, talk to my teammates.
I don't want to ask you too much to like break down your teammates, but one guy's name, like I've talked to a few people and said who really look good, and the guy's name that keeps coming up is your guy Mookie Cooper.
Yeah,
Said kind of the light went on this spring. I mean, it sounds like Mookie's had a heck of an offseason.
yeah, Mookie. Yeah, I commend him. He definitely had, a tremendous spring. I felt like he needed that, to get his juice back because I mean we could all play, but we
Mm-hmm.
know, yeah.
You're playing for a different offensive coordinator. So tell me about Coach Moore. Like, do you feel like things are a lot different, or do you feel like things are fairly similar for you from what they were last year?
Uh, I definitely feel like things are a lot different. I feel like um my receiver group, we're gonna get more opportunities this year. Um, as of like putting more points on the board, and I feel like that's gonna help us a lot, with winning games because we was one possession games and we just go one time. It's a whole different. We got a whole different season last year, so I feel like we're gonna have more opportunities. Coach Moore, he's pretty creative. He was a receiver himself in college, so it's gonna be real fun.
Yeah. I'm curious. I mean, you guys were 6-7 last year, and I would guess that you probably didn't lose 7 games in your entire high school career. And I know that some guys that's kind of tough to. I mean, how'd you handle that? Are you like a competitive guy that every loss is killing you, or do you just kind of understand? Hey, man, that's maybe a little bit of a part of building a new program.
I looked at it both ways because I didn't lose really much in high school, so losing I don't like losing. I was born a winner. I love to win, and I definitely feel like it's a rebuild process. So we got work to do.
Yeah, yeah. So I want to ask you a little bit about kind of a little more off the field stuff. What is it like now in this? And look, this is the only off season you've ever been in college football, so maybe you can't compare it to what it used to be like. But just looking across not only your team but every other team, and I mean, everybody's a free agent now, and there's so many guys moving all over. Obviously, you didn't look at that, but is that weird as a player just seeing so much of the roster change in 3 months?
Uh, it is difficult, but I mean, it's the world we live in today, so you gotta adjust fast. That's how I look at it. Just gotta adjust fast.
What was that? Was there look? Because, like I said, you hear the noise. You know that it's not just you; it's any highly recruited guy. Maybe if the season isn't perfect, people start speculating. Hey, man, he's going to have chances. He's going to look around. Did you just totally block all that out? I mean, thinking about ever leaving Missouri, was that ever anything that got into your world, or did you just ignore it?
Yeah, I just block out all the noise. I don't really, look into all the nonsense. I just because everybody always got an opinion, so I feel like everybody gonna say whatever they want to say. So, but only the real know like what's really going on. So, but I never had no plans of leaving Missouri. I love Missouri.
Yeah, and one of the things that I know had to be kind of cool for you, I heard you had games where there was like 20, 25 of your family members that got to come see you play last year. Is that right?
Yeah, that's a huge impact on why I came to Mizzou. So my family can come see me play. Just just be around, and it's a good feeling when your whole family like you got 25 of your family members watching you play the game you love. So it's a huge impact.
Yeah. So again, this is our podcast with the NIL Collective, Every True Tiger Foundation, and one of the things that we want to talk about with some of you guys and girls that are on this podcast down the road is just kind of what kind of impact all this NIL stuff has had. What are and again, I want to be clear. Nobody's asking how much money you make or anything like that. Just kind of how has that helped you and some of your buddies out, and what are some of the things that you've done throughout this last year?
So I took advantages of my NIL opportunities. I have my own chips. You know, shout out to the LB3s, Oviana. Everybody go get them. They real good. Honey barbecue.
They are good. I'll vouch for that. They're good chips, man.
Yeah. So I got an NIL deal with Oviana. I have a Mercedes Benz NIL. And that's really what I wanted when I come here to get a car, and just putting it really helps you building your own brand. So it's like
Yeah, I want to ask you. I want to ask you, like, do you just have bags and bags of those chips sitting around your house? Like, do you just like every time you have a snack, you're like, I'm gonna go get a bag of chips with my picture on it?
Yep, chips, all chips.
There you go, man. I feel like that's got to be a big like if somebody invites you to a barbecue or something, you're like, I'll bring the chips, and you just show up with a bag of chips with your picture on it. That's a power move.
Yeah, that's huge, man. I feel like come from where I come from, just having like my face on a bag of chips and like just being in every store, like where I'm from, is like it's just unbelievable, man. I can't even explain the feeling.
Yeah, yeah. So you get the off season now a little bit. I mean, outside of football and finishing up classes, what do you got? What do you got going on here the next few months? I mean, did you get a spring break trip, anything like that?
Yeah, I went down to Atlanta with one of my teammates. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I was down there the whole spring break. I was down there, working out, just getting out of the state for real. I got family down there. Got to see them. So
Okay, and then you get to go back home for a little bit, come back up here first week in June. So you look forward already to next football season. I mean, what's kind of I assume the thought in listening to you talk is, hey, we were pretty close last year, but we got to find a way to take that step this season.
yeah, that's definitely my mindset. Going into the season, not leaving nothing on the table this year. I want everything. So me and my team, we're gonna work hard to get every day to get that, and we're just gonna stay focused and stay the course.
What's it like facing your defense every day? Because almost all those guys came back, and they were pretty decent last year.
Playing them guys every day, it's a real, a blessing. So, because those some real good guys over there on the defense side. You know, some guys over there, I feel like I'm gonna play at the next level. So I just try to take every opportunity that I get to go against them. I try my hardest, to feel that like next level, competition. So
Yeah. NFL draft's coming up only a couple hours down the road here. In a year or two, you could be there. Are you gonna have any chance to go check that out at all and see what it's like before you maybe go through it in a couple years?
no, I actually want to see it as I feel it. Like I want to go through it as I'm going through it. Like I want to feel it like myself. Like I just want to.
I got you. So just kind of personal goals, man. You got anything for next year, or is that too far down the road yet?
Yeah, I haven't made any goals yet. I make those like towards like when the season almost about. So
Okay, good deal. Well, Luther, appreciate you taking some time, man, and I encourage everybody to go buy the chips and all that. So appreciate it, and we will be talking to you down the road.
thank you so much.
All right, have a good one. That is Luther Burden, the third Missouri sophomore wide receiver, joining us on the True Tiger Insider. These shows will be posted on our site the day we record, and then opened up to the public and sent out as a podcast 24 hours later. So if you are a Power Mizzou subscriber, you're going to get early access to all of these. Again, we talked to Darius Robinson, Jake Garcia earlier, Jocelyn Moore, Keegan O'Toole, the two-time national champion wrestler. Just had Luther Burden. Next week, we're going to talk to Mizzou basketball player Noah Carter. At least that is the plan. Look, things happen. Sometimes things get shifted around, but right now the plan is to talk to Noah Carter next week on this show. And again, to find out more about NIL, how you can contribute and all that, you go to everytruetiger.org. You can also go there as a pinned message on our message board at powermizzou.com in the Tigers Lair. We've got a partnership with ETTF, and we've got a specific fund within the bigger collective just funded by PowerMizzou.com subscribers. That is already nearing pledges of $100,000. When we hit that number, then the guys over at ETTF, Nick Garner, Lawrence Bowers, Bud Sasser, all those guys are going to set up a special event for you guys in the fall to have a chance to kind of get in-person, up-close access that not every Missouri fan gets with coaches, players, all of that. So we encourage you guys to do that, and appreciate you liking the shows, subscribing to the YouTube channel, leaving positive reviews of the podcast, doing all of those things. So want to again thank Luther Burden III for his time this week. And thank you to all of you for joining us here on the True Tiger Insider. We will talk to you next time.